The word industry itself sounds so commercial that the moment you hear this word, you think about money. Industry is synonymous to consumerism. For me, when I hear this word, I start to visualize factories wherein products are made and sold at any cost. The motive is to sell no matter what. You know, produce and sell, produce and sell, produce and sell. It's so mechanical. Well, it's good for the country because it boosts up the economy. More the sales, more the production, more the GDP, more the prosperity. Rise in industries is a legitimate progress indicator for any country. It's a clear cut sign of a nation moving forward, isn't it? But unfortunately for me, I get hiccups when I hear the word industry associated with education. I get grumpy when I think about how this whole concept of commercializing education has impacted our nation and many other countries and is continuing to do so with worsening results. It's like school and colleges running like factories patronized by students. It just doesn't get in my head. And I'm sure wise men and women have debated on this matter in the past too, but with no winners. And that now it has become the greatest controversy of the nation. But let me bring forth some vital points in proving how how industrializing the academia is flattening dreams of the nation's aspiring youth. Although privatization of formal education in India is not a new thing. Even before independence, we had privately owned schools, although they were in the name of public schools. But after independence, with growing needs, the education landscape in India needed to expand. However, private investments in the education sector has always been criticized by many and with a reasonable logic. And that is, wherever it's about commercializing a product, there are fair amount of chances that quality is forsaken in the quest of making money. However, it makes sense when we talk about making efforts in pushing education to as many people as we can. But privatization of it, without upholding sincere governmental control on its quality, will make the country more vulnerable to threats caused by failure of education. I'm not against privatization. But privatization of education in countries like India comes with a heavy cost of inequality. Now, I know the concept of inequality is very old fashioned for some who may be viewing this speech, but nothing that hinders human rights is old fashioned. Imagine the state of government schools in India. I know you wouldn't even like to imagine it because all that comes to your mind is old dilapidated buildings, dirty premises, and helplessly baffled faculty unsuccessfully teaching the kids of the innocent poor. Don't you think those kids deserve to go to school where you studied, maybe? Don't you think they too deserve nicely painted walls with organized classroom furniture and stationery? Don't you think they deserve an environment that's conducive to studying? Education is a basic human right. It is the most powerful tool to bring social change and community development, and everybody deserves a fair chance to attain it in the right way, in the right environment. Ironically, our country boasts of one of the few top largest education systems in the world, and no doubts our literacy rate has gone up. But I am talking about efficiency here. I am talking about schools and colleges that are owned by fat money making lalas who don't know shit about the importance of quality education. All that matters to them is profits. All that matters is how will they grow their franchisee business, and they hire resources who are underqualified to become teachers. Their massive fee structure fascinates students in the name of luxurious infrastructure rather than quality education. This is my personal experience. When I drive on the roads and I see these huge school or college advertisement hoardings, I laugh. When I see pictures of horse riding or big swimming pools or posh gyms, rather than showing kids studying in the classrooms, because that's the fact about private school education today. Let me tell you something. You open a school and hire the best teachers in the world. But if you don't provide and advertise luxurious facility, you are a failure. Sadly. Sadly, that's the state of our country today. Today, a common man's perception is so bloody well managed by the private education lobbyists that people are more sold at having a horse riding sport facility in a school rather than quality education. And who gives a damn about it? As it is, the poor kids who can't afford these schools go to poorly conditioned government schools and finally become dropouts and continue as a new feather in the hat of poverty. I know you will have your own points here, but let me simplify this for you. I'm not against privatization of education. I'm against government deregulating the education system in the hands of private school owners. And please make a note, even if they practice control, that is all liberally conditioned. So it's of no use. I'm not against private education. I'm against when my fellow citizens tell me that private schools and colleges are better than the government ones. It saddens me because that means families who can't afford private institutions have no choice. I am not against private institutions, please. But I feel sad when my students, many students out there, including huge amount of girls from government schools become dropouts. This is an important point. There are many students, including huge amount of girls, from the government schools who become dropouts because education in rural government schools doesn't amount to much. And then those girls are subject to gender discrimination at their villages or homes. And it's all about those girls because those girls grow up uneducated. See how far-reaching effect does it have? And this directly or indirectly contributes to grave matters of girl killings and sex discrimination against women. I'm not against private institutions. I say that again, I'm not against private institutions, but it seems unfair when private institutions charge staggering amount of fees at their leisure, with least control of the government, least interference of the government, that makes basic right to education an unaffordable thing for many. All right, in this case, it's easy to say that one can select a school in accordance with their financial standards, but for God's sake, that's exactly what I am talking about right now. It should not be about financial standards when it comes to quality education. Rather, it's about right to education. It has to be like the polio vaccination in our country. It is free for every kid. Have you ever heard the polio vaccination coming with a superior quality for the kids of the rich than the poor? No, because it's about the basic right to health. It's all about basic rights, and education is as important. I simply believe that every kid should be treated equal, no matter from what social stature they come from. Every kid has the right to study in an environment where they feel truly empowered. Thank you.